supporting you in your dog parenting journey. The Dynamic Dog Owner with Debbie Potter.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of The Dynamic Dog Owner, the podcast designed to support you, the dog parent, in your dog parenting journey. Hopefully, if you are a regular listener, you will know that the podcast is designed to help and support you, the dog parent, in your dog parenting. We don't focus on too much on training because we look at the human side of training, because it's a 50-50 split across the board, and there are plenty of podcasts out there for how to train your dog. That sounds a bit like the kids show, doesn't it? How to Train Your Dragon. But we do have our own Paw Academy, which is an online training hub where you can access pre-recorded training videos, live Q&As with myself. And as a listener, you can grab yourself a 3-day free day trial. That didn't sound right. Free 3-day trial where you can log into the Paw Academy, see what's there, and get started. And there's a link to that in the description of the podcast. So today's theme. Today's theme is a little bit of a strange one. Who remembers Room 101? It was a TV program, I think it was in the 90s. I remember being relatively young, so it must have been a while ago. But early 90s, I can't remember who hosted it, but it was a TV show where celebrities would come on and basically say what they wanted to throw in Room 101. Now, I didn't really know much about this in terms of other than the show, but after Googling it, I actually realised that Room 101 is based off of the George Orwell 1984. Didn't know that, never read it. And it's basically like a room that's used to torture people because all of the things you hate are in this room. And that's where obviously the TV show has come from. Celebrities saying, I think this should go in Room 101. And then the host, whoever it was, I think there was probably a few over the time, would say yes or no. And they'd have to argue their case as to why these things needed to go into Room 101. They'd agree whether they did or didn't end up in Room 101. And I thought it'd be quite fun to talk about the things as a dog trainer that I find just absolutely need to be thrown into that room, lock the key, and never come back out again. So are you ready to hear the items that I think? I haven't got a celebrity obviously here saying if they agree or not, but are you ready to hear the things that I think should be thrown into Room 101? And these can be anything. So it's not necessarily items, it can be like pet peeves and stuff as well. So are you ready? My first thing, and these are in no particular order, FYI, my first thing that I think should be thrown into Room 101 are retractable dog leads. Hear me out. Some people love them. Majority of people actually don't like them. There's a whole podcast episode previously on why I think they're really bad. For 90% of dogs, no, not everybody, but my reasons are that I find them dangerous. They're dangerous for people, they're dangerous for dogs. Dogs can be ahead of you 20 yards, but they could also be in the road in a split second. So they're hugely dangerous. They can get caught around people, body parts, etc. They're quite a jerky, I don't want to say it. In a way, they're a lazy way to give your dog a little bit more freedom on the lead. And I don't mean that in an insulting term, but obviously a long fixed length lead is much harder to handle, takes 2 hands, it's a bit more of an effort. So the retractable lead in theory provides a lazier option of that where you can just have it and it sorts itself out, extracts and retracts and extends. But there's so much more to it than just that purpose. It's how we connect them, how we reel them in, the danger of getting other people caught up in them, dogs caught up in them. But also it's the unpredictability of them. I don't feel personally that you've got as much control over your dog, because with a normal lead, I don't know how you guys hold your lead, but I kind of not wrap it round, but I have a way that I hold my lead and it makes me feel I've really got a good grip on my lead. Whereas with a retractable lead, you're basically just hanging onto a piece of plastic. Your hands don't go all the way around it. You can't get a better grip. So it's really easy for it to be pulled out of your hand because you can't, for example, put it how I kind of put mine half around my wrist or doubled up around my hand. And obviously it tightens, whereas this bit of plastic you're just holding. So I find they're much harder to actually have good control of your dog. you can't use the lead. Like for me, occasionally, depending on what situation I'm in, I will hold my lead shorter if I need to. And I'll just grab hold of it. You can't just grab hold of a retractable lead because it hurts because it's so thin. So I just feel you've got less control over your dog. And yeah, if I had my way, we don't allow them in classes because of the dangers we see with them. And I discourage people from using them from a training aspect anyway. But if I could have my way, I would definitely throw them into 101. And if you guys want to vote on this as to whether you agree with me, then put in the comments, which of these items you would say yes can go in room 101 and which ones can't. And it's weird because actually a lot of these things ended up, I made a little list because I was like, I'm not going to remember them all while I'm filming. Some of these things are actually, a lot of them are actually equipment. So if I think of some other things while we're chatting, I'll throw a few extras in. So the next thing that I'd like to throw in the room 101, is harnesses that tighten. That sounds really random, but there are so many harnesses out on the market these days. And some of them are designed that they tighten. They're really thin and they're not supposed to tighten. They're supposed to be a comfortable thing for your dog to wear, for them to feel safe and snug and comfortable while they're out for a walk. That's not going to happen if they tighten. So I don't like the ones that I don't know what brand it is, I don't know what make it is, there's probably a load of them. You slide it down to their back and then it tightens and pulls up against them when they pull. Because effectively, it's just causing a little bit of discomfort and pain, and that's obviously what we try and strive to avoid. Why don't I like them? Because dogs shouldn't be in pain. Dogs shouldn't be uncomfortable. And sometimes behaviour, like pulling on the lead, for example, is not it's a trained behaviour and it's stuff we ask them to do. But sometimes it can be that they pull on the lead because they're uncomfortable in the equipment they're wearing. And we tend to disregard that and go, well, that can't be a thing, but it really is. So that's why I don't like the ones that tighten. And again, if you agree, wicked, throw it in that room. If you don't, that's fine too. Next thing on my pet peeve, and most of these things I've probably talked about in the podcast already, so if you're a first-time listener, you can always check out the previous episodes. Next thing I would throw on that list, or in the room 101, is, this is a real pet peeve, the word fur baby. Cannot stand dogs being referred to as a fur baby. It winds me up something terrible. Don't ask me why. It's just one of those things that I just can't stand. And I get it, okay, because a lot of people, their dogs are their world. I love my dogs completely, I adore them. But I do like to think I have a clear sort of, that's what the word is, division in my mind that says they are a dog. They are not a baby. They are not a child. Obviously, I treat them as very, very important members of my family. And most of the time, my kids would probably say, you love the dogs more than us. They don't answer back. But I still have that definition between they are a dog and they need to act like a dog and I need to treat them like a dog, no matter how much I love them. And of course, I will get off the sofa if they ask me and I'll do anything to help them and make them happy. But they're not a baby. And I just think the term fur baby, it just fills me with that whole thing that we treat them like, not like they're dogs and we don't respect them as dogs and we just treat them like some glamorous doll that you can drag around. So I hate the term. And occasionally I've had people, like I try and strive to make sure we never use that term. And occasionally like other people have made sort of content for me or written copy words and stuff, and they've used a term. I'm like, get that out, cannot stand it, never use that again, please. Hate the term. Because dogs are dogs. Yes, we love them, and yes, we treat them as very, very valuable members of our family, but they're not fur babies. Just hate it. Anyway, I don't know if I've got, that's not really a good argument, is it? Other than I just hate it. But I just don't like the phrase. I think it just brings up this wrong image that, they're things that we should pick up and cuddle and mollycoddle and, there's a difference between spoiling your dog, because absolutely dogs should be spoiled, but I think we just have to have that division that they are dogs. Fur baby just does my head in. Let me know if you agree, put that in the room or not put that in the room. I really feel like I need a celebrity guest. Anyway, next thing that I would pop in that 101 room is picking up your dog. I know it sounds really silly. I discourage people from picking up their dog because it takes away choice. And again, I think I might have talked on this in a previous episode, I can't remember. So many episodes. It seems to be when dogs are puppies, when you have a small breed dog, the default is if they're doing something you don't want them to do, just pick them up. And I don't like it. I have big dogs. I cannot just pick them up. I can pick them up and carry 2 out of the 3. One, that's why I go to the gym, to try and get stronger so I could pick him up and carry him. And in theory, I can lift him in terms of weight at the gym, but I can't lift him because he's a wriggly mass. But that's my goal. Anyway, I cannot just pick my dogs up. And because of that, I feel with a big dog, you have to put more effort into training and a communication and a sort of mutual respect. And hey, if I ask you this, I really need you to do it. Whereas with a small dog, regardless of what they're doing, you can just pick them up and move them out of the way. What I find is then that dogs lose their choices. Dogs are always being taken away from the things they want to do. We're not helping them work through their emotions and work out how to do stuff. We're just simply taking away choice. And I don't think it's fair on smaller dogs to have their choices just completely taken away. And again, that's just me. That's what I believe. And I do think that I often see some negative consequences, especially with puppies, because they then start getting bitey, they then start redirecting onto the human, they don't know how to deal with frustration, they don't know how to work it through, because it's just easier to pick them up. So again, that's something that I would say is detrimental to dogs. Obviously, some situations, especially when they're a puppy, you just need to pick them up. But I would say 90% of the time, when people go to pick them up, it's because they've lost patience, or they don't have the training skill to fall back on to encourage the dog to do something different. And obviously, there's certain situations absolutely it's fine to pick your dog up. But I'm sure that majority of the time, if we pick them up, we don't really need to. It's just for ease and convenience, and that's not fair on the dog. So that's another thing I'd throw into Room 101, picking up your dog. Again, if you agree, wonderful. If you don't, that's fine too. Let me know. Cool. So next thing, there's a few things on this list. Next thing, Room 101, I would throw in that room is aversive methods, aversive tools. So slip collars or slip leads, prong collars, choke chains, e-collars. There is, in my opinion, there is absolutely no need to use any of these equipments and pieces of equipment on dogs. It's barbaric. You don't need it. I don't see why in this modern day and age we think it's okay to inflict pain, discomfort into our dogs as a way of getting them to basically do what we want. It's bullying, it's coercion, it's using strength and force, and it's not fair. Quite simply, I do not agree with it. I don't think it's good for dogs' welfare, and I think it's just not good for dogs. Again, I could go on for hours about this topic, and we've probably touched on it in the past in the podcast. It's not a topic I like to bring up too much because it's just such a tricky situation, because the use of these equipments is becoming more and more and more common nowadays, which I think is really sad. We can get, and we do get, brilliant results in training without the need to use pain, fear, intimidation. And again, I kind of think maybe it leans back to sort of my comment before about retractable leads being lazy. I don't want this to offend anybody, but it is a little bit lazy using those pieces of equipment, because dogs comply usually quite quickly. Why? Because it hurts not to. we wouldn't do it with children. We wouldn't do it with other people. If you were to use those methods on a person, it would be classed as abuse, violence. You'd be arrested for it. So why are we allowed to do that with dogs? And majority of the time, we don't need to. It's just you get quicker results because the dog has no choice but to comply. Yes, it gives you a quick result. Hence, I could argue it's a little bit lazy to use them. And there's no skill involved. Dog training is an art. It is a skill. It's not just about teaching the dog, it's human skills. I find, and again, we've had a podcast episode on this before, the things that you can learn through dog training. You learn patience, you learn compassion, you learn how to problem solve, you learn how to match someone else's pace, you learn so many skills that are transferable to life and to dealing with humans through working with your dog, if you're taking the slow route. And that's the problem. Most people don't want to take the slow route. We want quick results. That's the world we live in. Instant gratification on social media, ordering stuff. You have to wait for anything. Gone are the days when you'd have to wait 5 days for a delivery. You order it on Amazon Prime, it can be there by that night. We don't have to wait. You don't have to wait for your photos to be developed. You don't have to wait for anything. And I think that's where these tools become more popular, because we don't have to wait for results. We just get them instantly. Whereas with the methods we use, which are kind, ethical, I wouldn't say force-free, because nothing in this world is completely force-free. We have to have an element of, even if it's not physical force, but like, even if you could argue putting a collar on a dog is force and putting a lead on them is force. So I wouldn't say we're force-free, but we use positive reinforcements, we use science-based learning theory, and effectively, basically, we're just kind. We are nice to dogs. And I just don't think it's fair in this world to use those pieces of equipment that suppress dogs' emotions, hurt their feelings, and make them make them give in to what we want. I don't think it's fair. I don't agree with it. That's why we are absolutely anti all of those pieces of equipment in our training facility. We will not allow them. We're very strict on that. The only time and place we'll allow slip leads is when they're used properly for their original purpose in gun dog training for quick release. That's what they were designed for. And I think that's where, there's a misconception as to what these pieces of equipment are for. They were originally, not all of them, a lot of them have been invented for this very purpose, to hurt dogs. But slip leads did originally have their purpose in gun dog training for well-trained dogs who already know how to walk by your side. It's just a quick safety device in case you decide to run into the chute when you shouldn't. I've got this lead on you, but the second I can release you, I can just whack it over your head really quick. I haven't got to faff around with unbuckling stuff, etc. That's the original purpose. The original purpose was never to strangle your dog to make them to walk nicely. It's the topic I'm very passionate on, that dogs should be treated with respect they deserve, and we shouldn't inflict pain on them, or discomfort or fear or anything else that makes them do as we ask. Yes, it's a slower result, but it's a more long-lasting, ethical, and taking the dog's feelings and emotions into account. And that's why I would absolutely throw those pieces of equipment in room 101, lock the door, and never want to see them again. Again, let me know if you agree and you think they should go in the room or not. Next thing, I've only got a few more left, I promise. I could go on for ages, I'm not going to. Next thing on the list to throw in that room 101 is ball flingers. The things you put your ball in and throw. Again, you may have seen a few months ago now, I did an episode on ball flingers because I tried one out on my holiday with my dog thinking it can't be that bad. Oh my goodness, it was amazing, the results. So do look back at that episode if you want to have a listen. But generally, I don't like them because majority of the time, dogs are running mindlessly, chasing. We're making them run too far. Dogs have negative associations with, or not negative associations, they have association with them that basically goes, wow. I find they lose connection. They put too much pressure on the joints by playing too much fetch. They run too far, too fast. Again, listen back to my podcast before, because that is totally my whole experience of trying one out. Didn't like it. And again, I just think, majority of dogs, there are better ways to exercise them than just playing fetch. again, this sounds like I'm just saying people are lazy. I don't really mean it this way, but it can be the lazy option of exercising your dog because it's no effort. As you're walking along, you just pick it up and throw, pick it up, throw, pick up and throw. There are more benefits to doing different games with a ball than just throwing it. And if anything, a lot of repetitive fetch has negative consequences on your dog. So again, there's something I'd just throw in. I don't like them. Tried one on my holiday, didn't like, I tried one for a different reason. Listen to the podcast episode because I can't explain it now, but I tried one for a reason that I didn't think would have any negative consequences, and it did. So that's why I would say absolutely throw them in that room. Two more. One more thing I want to throw in that room is 1 metre leads. Leads that are short, 1 metre length leads. I don't know why they're sold. They're far too short. Because dogs need to walk, dogs need to sniff, they need to put their nose down, they need to hear. Again, I think it's that they're designed for our convenience to make our dog walk by our side and just be a robot walking next to us, which we don't want. I don't want a robot. I want a happy dog. And for me, that happy dog is sniffing, it's moving from side to side, it's being a dog. Dog walks are for dogs to be dogs. They're not for them to be robots by our side. And a 1 metre lead generally is far too short for them to put their nose down to the ground. Therefore, they're not getting any benefit from their walk. They generally pull more because they can't get anywhere. And they just cause issues. To me, absolute minimum length of the lead is 2 metres. Anything shorter needs to be thrown in that room because there's just not a purpose for them on a general everyday dog family walk. And last but not least, and apologies if this one offends you, I would like to throw dog costumes into room 101. Again, maybe it links back to that fur baby term, but why do we need to dress our dog up in costumes? How many dogs actually like and enjoy being dressed as a pumpkin? Or as I don't know, I've seen one of like Dorothy and Toto with a basket. What dog actually enjoys that? Seriously. It's for our benefit. Majority of dogs don't like it. Occasionally you get a dog who does. So like out of my 3, 2 of them would be like, don't freaking put nothing on me. One, he's so chill. He's like, you can put sunglasses on my head, I don't mind. He wears a stress jacket and he really likes it. But they're practical things. And like occasionally kids might put a hat on his head. He wore one of their Harry Styles jumpers once for like literally 2 minutes for a photo, and he didn't mind it and he was very comfortable with it. But majority of the time we put these costumes on our dogs, or people put costumes, I don't. People put costumes on their dogs for their own benefit, for photos, for Instagram, for a laugh, for funny. A lot of dogs are actually uncomfortable, but people don't necessarily know the signs that say their dog is uncomfortable, and they think it looks cute when their dog's actually going, this is awful, I hate it. And again, it's kind of like that. Dogs are dogs. We need to draw that line. Fancy dress is for kids. It's not for dogs, because dogs are dogs. And yes, they are part of our family. Yes, they can join in our celebrations, but you know, they don't need a full-on fancy costume. A little bandana on their collar or a little bow tie on their collar, for me, is absolutely plenty. I don't like the full-on body costumes that make dogs look really uncomfortable. Again, these are my personal opinions, okay? Don't shoot me. These are my personal opinions. They're things that I don't like. It's not saying they're right or wrong. It's just my opinion. And of course, it's my podcast, so I can give you that. And again, if you agree with me on dog costumes and you want to throw them in that bin or the bin, room, wherever it is, let me know. If you think they're great, that's cool. It's your opinion. I'm absolutely fine with it. I'm not going to argue about it. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. And that is something that we promote in our training or support in our training. Is you're entitled to your opinion. I'm not going to try and force you to change your opinion. I'll give you my reasons why. You want to agree, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine. You do you, I'll do me. There's a place for everybody and everyone's opinions. These are just mine. And it may just make you go, I agree with those. It may make you go, I disagree completely. And I'm always up for a healthy discussion. So let me know in the comments, do you agree with any of these things? Do you also think they should be thrown in 101? Do you become like a huge torture chamber for someone like me? Or do you disagree and think, no, they're absolutely fine? Would you throw anything else dog related in room 101? Let me know, because I'd really like to know. Hope you've enjoyed the episode. Again, just a bit of tongue in cheek, really. If you do want to check out what we do, obviously look in the description of the podcast. You'll find links to join our email newsletter, so you can hear from us with training tips in your inbox every week. And you can also see that link to the 3-day free trial of our online training hub academy. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you guys very soon. If you love listening to the podcast, why not check out the Potter Academy for practical dog training advice and how-to videos. The hub is broken down into sections, and hundreds of pre-recorded videos are there for you to start watching whenever you choose. You can watch them back as many times as you like. You also get to talk to other community members and discuss your training, and benefit from live Q&As with myself where you can get your questions answered. Why not make use of our 3-day free trial where you can access all of the content on the hub absolutely free for 3 days. The link is in the description below, so do check that out, and I can't wait to see you in the hub.
Thank you for listening to The Dynamic Dog Owner with me, Debbie Potter. See you next time.